Welcome back to What If Goku Married Suno Part 12, and in the last part we dealt with Vegeta and Boxer going up against Cell in his perfect form and losing. And everyone had their training in the hyperbolic time chamber. And right before we begin, just getting the obligation out of the way, but if you could sub, that'd be great. Anyway, moving on. So, when we last left off, Cell had given our heroes that last bit of peacetime before shit gets real in the tournament. But there is one thing I want to mention. Vegeta and Boxer do go back in the hyperbolic time chamber to get more training done. Though unlike canon, this time Vegeta and Boxer master Super Saiyan. However, they don't get stronger than Goku or Gohan. Though Vegeta does take his place above Piccolo again, but having Boxer also surpassing Piccolo as well. Now with that done, now we arrive at the Cell games, everyone having gathered on the way from wherever they came from, be it Kame House, Capsule Corp, Mount Paozu, or from the Lookout. Everyone meets at the Cell games arena. Goku and Cell stare each other down for a moment, as Goku turns back to his friends asking if he can go first. No one really argues to go before him. Vegeta would, but he knows full well he still isn't strong enough for Cell, and has had his pride shattered enough by this bug creature to give it more chances to stomp on it. But before Goku could step into the ring and face him, none other than our champ Hercule arrives on scene, and that whole fiasco goes the same as canon. So after Hercule has his ass swiftly handed to him by Cell, Goku is able to step into the ring and go toe-to-toe with Cell. Goku wastes no time and rushes at Cell, but also in typical Goku fashion, he doesn't go all out right away. But Cell mimics this behaviour, and it's not long before the fight is taken airborne, as everyone below watch in awe at the speed and power of the fight happening above them. Goku, through martial arts prowess, is able to somewhat bridge the gap in power between him and Cell. Though in this moment, Cell is powering up faster than Goku, putting the pressure on him. But again, through that martial arts technique, Goku is able to get a grapple of Cell's tail and launches him down into the arena, and then starts charging a Kamehameha, stunning everyone, since they are all now thinking that Goku is going to fire that much power right at the earth, destroying it. But right before Goku launches the attack, he uses instant transmission to get right in front of Cell, as he had just gotten up from the impact he had previously incurred. And this does blast away most of Cell, though now Goku is getting tired after using so much power in that attack. And then he's also shocked to learn that Cell just regenerates after all that damage. And it's at this point Goku decides to throw in the towel, which a major shift in everyone's attitude to the canon timeline occurs here, because like I said in the last part, every one of the Z fighters knows that Gohan is literally the strongest person in their group. So Goku telling Gohan to fight next isn't so much a surprise for everyone, though Suno and Piccolo will still complain about it. But this is more about whether or not Gohan is mentally capable of holding the hope of the world on his shoulders than anything else. Though Gohan does get in the ring, and unlike canon Gohan, this Gohan is eager to throw down against Cell. This Gohan isn't afraid of fighting, and in fact enjoys it. Like I've stated many a time, given his much different and much more martial arts focused upbringing, and the reason I bring this up is because in the canon, Gohan basically just lets himself get injured by Cell in their fight in the canon, because he just doesn't want to fight against him, but that does not happen here. Gohan and Cell go toe-to-toe, go into attacks having a very Goku-like style to them, and this time the fight is much more even. Though as the time goes on, they both start to wear a little, Gohan a bit more out of stamina than Cell. Gohan asks if Cell wants to see why Goku knows why he can win. This intriguing Cell, who at this point believes himself to have the upper hand here, and laughs at him and insults him, whilst also allowing Gohan the time to do whatever he's planning to do. Which is probably the worst thing he could have done, as Gohan tells Cell that whilst in the hyperbolic time chamber, he didn't just master Super Saiyan, he ascended it. This is confusing Cell for a moment, before he's shocked immensely, as Gohan flares into Super Saiyan 2 as everyone watches in awe. Goku sitting on the floor being all like, I'm like this close to doing it. Goku wanted to fight Cell first, half because he felt like he could evolve in the fight, but that didn't quite happen here. But Vegeta is the most shocked of all here. He could feel there was more power to this Super Saiyan thing to be found, and now he has witnessed it firsthand. Vegeta being all inspired to reach that form, and also pisses hell at Goku for keeping that a secret, who just laughs that off. Though, back in the fight, Cell is incredibly overwhelmed, and since this Gohan isn't in that sadistic rage mode like the canon Gohan was when he was fighting Cell in Super Saiyan 2, this Gohan is level-headed and knows not to let the fight drag out too long, not fully knowing what Cell is capable of, and if he could somehow transform again. Well, Gohan would rather not think about that and just end it here. And that's exactly what he does. He envelops Cell in a giant Kamehameha and destroys Cell, leaving no trace of him to regenerate. After which, Gohan falls to his base form declaring his victory, as everyone else is just stunned that a child did what none of them could in ridding Cell. Now you may have noticed that I didn't use any of the Cell Juniors. There's actually a reason for that. See, in the original, the Cell Juniors only became a thing because Cell was trying to make Gohan mad to fight. This Gohan didn't need that kind of prodding. Yeah, but that's all that's all I needed to cover there. So they all celebrate their victory back at the lookout, where they also use the Dragon Balls to revive everyone Cell had killed. This ends up meaning 17 and 18 are back alive now, by the way. However, since Cell was killed in his perfect form, there wasn't really any time for the Z Warriors to become friendly with him, so that's going to be a fun little side adventure in the future. However, also not killed is 16, who remains friends with the group, especially after Briefs had turned off his Kill Goku button. But he is also friends with 17 and 18, but currently they haven't had any run-ins. Maybe I'll cover it at the start of the next part. Yeah, let me know some fun ideas for 17 and 18, so they can meet the Z Warriors again after the Cell arc. That'd be cool. Nail decides to head back to New Namek after a short and well-earned vacation after all that stress. Piccolo stays behind even after Nail invites him to New Namek. The Kami and Piccolo would rather remain earthbound to defend it, if the need arise, and Piccolo suggests Nail do the same on New Namek, after which they fist bump and Nail heads out. Boxer then says his goodbyes to the gangs and heads back to his time to deal with the androids and Cell there, which I will cover now. Boxer returns to the future to sit barren as it always is, and after putting the time machine in a capsule, he goes out in search for the androids, who he quickly finds. However, he sees an adult Amon desperately fighting against them, whilst also trying to flee. Boxer sees that Amon is badly injured and flares into Super Saiyan and darts in front of Amon, whilst hitting the androids with a shockwave to blast them some distance away from his friend. Boxer asks his older friend why he isn't hiding out like they planned. Amon quickly saying they found him somehow, but also asking Boxer how's the Pastors going. Boxer just gives a thumbs up and tells him to sit back and watch this. And Boxer goes grade 3 in front of Amon, shocking him, as Boxer turns to face the androids who are now right in front of his face. Boxer literally just slices through them with those chunky arms of his. They say being stabbed with a blunt force object is quite painful, but what about being torn apart by two of them? This act shocks Amon with how quickly Boxer destroyed their greatest menace, though Boxer corrects him and tells him he'll show Amon their greatest menace. This confuses Amon because he's only seen the androids. Boxer, like the canon future Trunks, lays a trap to get Cell to come out of hiding, which goes perfectly. Amon horrified to see this bug creature, while Boxer does not hesitate and destroys Cell without a second thought. And that's about it for the future timeline, though I will note a few things about it. As you're aware, yes, Amon is still alive there. And in this universe, Gohan and Amon were Boxer's teachers. Boxer learning Super Saiyan from Gohan's death goes as canon pretty much, since Amon wouldn't really factor there. His power on this timeline is much weaker than the current timeline's Amon, who is still a child by the way. I'd say future Amon's power would range between 100 to 500,000. It's like that kind of sphere, weaker than first form Frieza. Future Amon is more like a Roshi type, has a smart tactical type with invented ki-based attacks. Though growing up in the future, his invented abilities are all escaped-based abilities, like building on the solar flare and things like that, which is why he survived as long as he had. But that's also because prior Z Warriors would put their lives before their own, and he knows that. Deeply depressing thought aside, they now have new beginnings in the future timeline thanks to Boxer. Boxer, by the way, just tells Amon he'll whip the human into shape, which slightly scares the senior martial artist. But that's about it for the future timeline, back to the current timeline. But probably won't touch upon the future timeline till like a spin-off video or till Super. Spin-off being like the history of Boxer type episode. If you want one of those, just let me know. As you're aware, Goku is still alive, which changes a lot of things in the current timeline. First being that Vegeta doesn't do the vowing never to fight again thing. Gohan doesn't have to be fatherless, probably should have been my first and foremost thought, but Saiyan royalty just hit different I guess. Also means Goku and Vegeta keep their rivalry very healthy and end up growing closer sooner than they would in the canon in the years to come. Now I'll probably do what everyone decides to do after the Cell arc before going into like the Buu arc, so like before that 7-year age skip. Also I have an idea, I feel like it would be a good time to slot in some like movie content in between Cell and Buu. Let me know in the comments below, but right now getting into what everyone's up to. Starting with Tien and Chaozu. They go back to training in the mountains, though this Tien decides to keep in touch with everyone, unlike the canon version who decides to basically go MIA for most of Buu arc and in the years after the Cell arc. Tien also decides to especially keep in contact with Yamcha, as he is Tien's main rival, being the only Earthling able to use Kaioken ×50. So because of Tien, Yamcha isn't able to quite relax. If Yamcha starts slacking in his training, Tien will be on his case. So Yamcha keeps training in the years to come, somewhat against his own wish, being one of the stronger fighters on the earth, even if he didn't really want it to be that way. Funny how that works out. Chiaotzu after the Cell arc is like officially retired from the front lines of the Z Warriors, if he like wasn't already. Chiaotzu just more decides he's just going to be a training aid to both Tien and Yamcha, using his telekinesis to aid in their training. Krillin, Amon and Chi-Chi do their usual thing, often visiting Roshi because of Krillin and Amon mostly, wanting to learn something interesting from the old hermit, but also often visiting Goku and Suno's, where Amon tries desperately to try catch up to Gohan in terms of power. Ada and 16 chill often, Ada being the only Z Warrior to be in touch with 17 and 18, though they treat Ada very different from the rest of the Z Warriors, given Ada is also a Gero creation. There's that camaraderie there. Though Ada in this series becoming the guy who becomes friends with everyone and thing, Ada being content with his life at this point. Goku does Goku shit and keeps training to the max, and the same could be said about Vegeta. Gohan, however, does lighten on his training a little as he does decide to go to school, cause like, that's just a thing you gotta do. Though he does lose some training time. I will say, Gohan will still get into Orange Star High School when like that part comes up to that. By no means is he an A+ student, this Gohan is more like a B+ student. Still smart, but not as book smart as the canon version. Suno keeps up with her training, though she misses the days where she felt like she could keep up with Goku, and now even her son is way far beyond her. She just keeps the mindset of, you never know when you're the one with the world on your shoulders, so she keeps honing her skills. Piccolo spends most of his time on the lookout training, though he does also decide to go to Goku's and train with him and Gohan. But that's about it for Piccolo, he's pretty single focused right now. But with that said, that's about all I've got time for right now. I hope you've enjoyed this part. Let me know what you think of the movie content idea, making them into like mini arcs in between Cell and Buu arcs. But yeah, if you like this video, leave a like, sub if you're new. I've been the Dragon Ball What If Bro, and I will see you guys next time.